Hello, I'm Ellen Coronet. This is content vlog number 5, Conversation Starters and Promoting the Customer Journey. So now that we have been through 3 keys, well, 2 of the 3 keys, I'm about to talk about the third one, to creating a warm conversation with your customers, with your future customers. And we've already talked about gamification. We've talked about digging down into the brand and understanding what the real motivations are for the brand in the first place. Today, we're going to move to the third key and talk about crafting promotional languaging and starting a conversation. And if you want to head back to vlogs number 1, 2, 3, or 4, you'll learn more about drilling down the brand focus and the customer-centric focus. So you've got a clear message that resonates with your primed or at least primable customers. How can you use this to attract them? So you're starting with this brand value and you're going to offer free, low cost, discount, paid offers, and so on, and hopefully give people a chance to try and get used to who you are and what you offer along the way. And then you're going to blast this out through social media, through advertising, through speaking, through podcasts, through events, through all the different vehicles that you have. In order to get the right languaging, what I recommend is that we're going to mine what we've learned along the way by really doing our homework and understanding the value of what we're offering. So you're going to start with kind of a metaphorical lens. And here's where I'm talking about archetypes. My definition of archetypes is the nonverbal, intuitively adopted, like we don't even think about it, but we take it on. And this is all the cultural biases and the cognitive biases and all the biases that I talked about in the last blog post when I touched on behavioral consumer economics. So my definition of archetypes is all these things that are sort of floating around us. They're meaning makers, they're symbols, they're preferences, and they're aversions as well. And that is what we can pay attention to as we're crafting our messages. Because all throughout the years, these archetypes, these ideas have been in human cultures without anybody having to say, oh, you need to have some concept of this and you need this. And, nobody's telling anyone these things. It just kind of comes down into our awareness. And what's happened in Western culture is a few men like Jung and Freud and Joseph Campbell have taken these ideas and sort of put them into a very good structure. And actually that structure is very useful because it's the basis of all storytelling, of all movies, of all literature, of all the things you read, all the fairy tales you've read and heard growing up are based on this kind of structure of the archetypal journey. And that can be very useful. We just have to understand that the structures that we've put on archetypes are not necessarily going to resonate with every individual that we're trying to relate to. So another way to think about archetypes would be think of them as invisible bubbles of preferences and motivations and aversions. That's what I was talking about. Even trauma triggers that have been wired into our personalities and our life experiences. So to foster meaningful connections, you have to consider these hidden structures, and that will unlock fluidity and adaptability because you've got awareness. And as soon as you have awareness, you're really 9/10 of the way there. So a well-designed quiz or assessment, which is what I focus on providing for most of my clients, makes this whole process really interactive. So you can begin to ask questions like, how ready are you to XYZ? And the brand can suggest a way to think about it that may not have been considered. So you're saying basically, here's what I know about the journey that you may be on. And then it allows, if you're using a well-designed form or quiz or assessment, you're hearing the voice of the customer at the same time, and the prospect, the person on the other side of this conversation, feels seen and heard and gives clues as to how they like to work, what they need most, how ready they are, and what they love or what they don't love, which is equally important. So quizzes come in the form of applications, intake forms, knowledge testers, click-through product quizzes, content marketing, which is what I'm doing here today, and persona or brand personality typing. So scan to take the Smart Conversations quiz, and I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much for joining me today.